Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So, what we're going to be chatting about today then is a pretty controversial subject, and I fucking love a controversial subject. So, in the fitness industry right now, if you look all around with online training, with online coaching, transformation packages, pretty much you will always find a training program combined with a diet plan of sorts. It's very popular to find in this industry. A lot of people will now assume that once you invest in a coach, not only are you going to get a training program of sorts, but you're also going to get a diet plan to follow as well. Now, I personally actually do not give my clients diet plans, and there's a few reasons behind that, which I'm going to go through in this video. It's my personal belief that a client should not strictly follow a diet plan as such. And like I said, there's many reasons for that, but the first thing I want to highlight as such, I've mentioned this many times before, especially in a lot of my earlier content and across social media, and it's, there's a lot of charlatans in this fitness industry. There are a lot of fake trainers out there. There are a lot of guys who are bigging themselves up, who are more kind of like showy off without actually having the knowledge, without having the skills, without having the qualifications behind them. There are plenty of those fucking morons in this industry. And without a doubt, you'll find that, 70-80% of trainers will sell off diet plans and stuff like that when they're not actually qualified to do so. What a lot of you won't actually realize is, to actually write someone a diet plan, that's a responsibility of a qualified and registered dietitian. Absolutely nowhere in any form of personal training qualification whatsoever does it give you the right to actually design a diet plan for someone. We can write training programs all day long. That's actually what we're qualified to do. But in terms of a dietitian, like a diet plan and stuff, that's actually the role of a dietitian, because there are so many different factors that you have to consider, and that all comes down to, physical and emotional health. And that's stuff that we're not qualified for. So you'll find that a lot of trainers are actually writing diet plans when they're not qualified to do so. And, they're riding a very thin line, because if a client actually gets injured or gets some form of illness because of a diet plan that they've been following from a trainer and they're not qualified, well, they're fucked, basically. So for that one reason alone, I don't actually write diet plans, because, at the end of the day, I don't want to be one of these charlatans that ends up getting shot down for doing shit that I'm not qualified to do. But there are other reasons for that. The two main reasons that I don't actually write diet plans for my clients are simple. The first reason is because I want to give my clients the freedom and flexibility to, enjoy the foods that they like, and also create a diet plan which suits them, their lifestyle, their preferences, their day-to-day lives, their current situations and things like that. And the second reason is I want to be able to build confidence within themselves to be able to handle their diet over the long term and, up towards the rest of their life. Those are the two main reasons that, I don't write diet plans for my clients. And I'm going to dive into them a little bit more now. So the first point, obviously, I mentioned is, I want to give my clients the freedom and flexibility to design their own diet plans. Something I have mentioned time and time again is, when you're working with the common member of the general public, like I do, you will find that, the majority of clients have very up and down lifestyles. You'll find that their routines are all over the place, depending on work patterns, depending on family life, social life, things like that. Everything is all over the place, and trying to follow a rigid meal plan, considering that, our lives are literally all over the place and we are so busy in the modern world, I think it's impossible to follow a rigid diet plan. If you are someone who is competing for a show, or, if you're getting ready for a photo shoot, if you've got a little bit more control over your time, then it's probably a little bit easier to follow a rigid diet plan. But for the majority of people that I work with, the general public, their lifestyles are pretty much all over the place. So trying to follow a rigid meal plan, it just doesn't work. Something that I've mentioned before, in some of my previous videos, is there are many factors to consider when it comes to actually setting up a diet, in a sense. You do have to consider, eating preferences of the person. Do they prefer to eat 3 times a day, or do they prefer to eat 6 times a day? You've got to consider lifestyle factors. So, when are they actually able to eat? Have they got to worry about work? Have they got family to look after? Have they got any social commitments? Then you've also got to fit in things like, sleep and stuff like that, and also other things going off in life as well. There are many different factors around your life that can actually affect and influence the way that you eat and how often you eat and what actually suits you depending on your day-to-day basis. And so for that reason, you can't really, plan that into a diet plan. You can't strictly tell someone that they've got to eat at X time and they've got to eat so many times a day, because quite frankly, no one's life is ever going to be that specific that you can actually follow a rigid meal plan like that. So for that reason, I don't write a diet plan for my clients, because I like to give them the flexibility depending on their lifestyle. So what I will tend to do is, I will give them a set of macros to follow, and I just simply give them the responsibility of making sure they can hit their calorie target and hit their macros in whatever way they possibly can, depending on their life. I've got clients that, work night shifts as a police officer. I have clients who, do standard 9 to 5 jobs. The lifestyles are all completely different. And because of that, I personally feel that it's better to set them up with just macronutrients and let them build the diet plan around their daily plan. I think that's the personal best way to do it. And the second reason, like I've said, is to build confidence within themselves. I want my clients to be able to learn how to manage their diet themselves. And there's a few reasons for that. At the end of the day, I don't expect that these clients are going to be with me until, the day I go 6 foot under. I don't expect that they're going to be working with me throughout that whole time. But that's just thinking long term. But even in the short term, there are going to be days where, they might not be able to get access to me. If I'm on holiday, or if I am on my deathbed because I have experienced the worst hangover imaginable after a techno rave, let's say. There's going to be many incidents like that where they might not be able to get hold of me. And if they're ever in a situation where, they're struggling to think how they're going to be able to actually stay on top of their diet. So for me, I personally feel the best thing to do is actually teach my clients, a way of managing their diet so that they have the responsibility, so that they can learn the skills themselves. If they learn how to track their macros, if they learn how to eyeball foods in restaurants, if they learn how to pre-log their meals, if they learn how to meal prep, all those things are little like keys of helping to build a diet, but they're also very valuable tools to learn that you can take through with you for the rest of your life. So to kind of recap on that point, I want to give them the confidence to be able to manage their diet, for the rest of their life, but also in the short term, in the times where I'm not available to help them for whatever reason, or if they find themselves in a situation where they cannot contact me, it gives them the responsibility to be able to actually build the diet for themselves and be able to manage it depending on the skills that they've just learned. So those are the two reasons really that I kind of don't write diet plans for my clients. So the way in which I tend to work with my own clients is I have a very much I will give them the responsibility, but I will also give them a set of guidelines to follow kind of approach. So to kind of make you understand a little bit more. So what I tend to do, like I've already mentioned, is, I will give my clients a set of macronutrients and calorie targets to follow, and it's their responsibility to be able to meet those targets on a daily basis. Now, I don't expect that my clients will have the knowledge of diet and, micromanaging all different parts of a diet like I do. I expect that their knowledge is going to be a lot less than what mine is. So it's still important for me to give them some form of guidance to be able to help them with their goals. So what I will typically do is, I will provide them with strategy guides. I will provide them with example meal plans to follow to give them a little bit of an idea of what to do. But I will also very much be very hands-on with their diet in the first couple of weeks to kind of see how things are going. So obviously I have all of my clients use my fitness pal and stuff like that, and then I have them linked up to my own personal account so I can look over their daily intakes and stuff like that. So what I do is I provide my clients with a set of macronutrient targets and a calorie intake target, and I will also give them a specific target for water intake, fiber, and micronutrients as well. And with that, I will also give them a little bit of recommendation in terms of food variety as well. So I will get them to include 2 different sources of protein, so they can get various different amino acid profiles in, different types of carbohydrates, different types of fruit and veg, things like that. So although I give them the responsibility of building the diet, there's a lot of guidelines that they have to actually meet. And it's almost, in a sense, it's like a little bit of a tick-off list for them to do every single day. So like I've already mentioned, in the first couple of weeks, I am very hands-on with their diet. So I will watch over their diet quite heavily on my fitness pal, and I will kind of provide them with an initial diet assessment to see how I think things are going with their diet and what improvements they could make. And then I'll just get them to make adjustments as they go along. And eventually, once they start to take on board the little adjustments and stuff that I've recommended, eventually they're going to start building a diet which is not only suitable for them in terms of preferences for lifestyle and for eating, but it will also contain the right amounts of different food groups and stuff like that to also promote optimal health. So in a sense, the way I kind of work with clients is, like I've already mentioned, is I give them the responsibility and I give them the freedom to build their own diet. But there's still a lot of involvement from me in terms of, I expect them to meet certain guidelines and things like that. So that gives them the responsibility, but it also helps them to build their confidence and also build their skills with being able to build a sufficient diet for their goals. So yeah, to kind of cap off this one then, guys, so like I said, I don't personally believe in giving my clients diet plans, because I would rather give them the skills and give them the education to help build their diets and give them the skills that are going to last them a lifetime. As I've already mentioned, I'm not going to be around, to be with them and be their trainer, for the rest of life. That's more than likely not going to happen. And there are going to be plenty of occasions, when I'm not around to be able to help them. And if you look on a day-to-day perspective as well, their lives are very much all over the place. With the kind of people I work with, I don't work with athletes, I don't work with people who very much have like health and fitness as their priority. I work with people who have different priorities in life. So health and fitness has to fit in there somewhere, but can often be mixed and matched depending on what their days look like. And because of that, I personally feel that it's better to follow a more flexible dieting approach so that they can actually, manipulate their diet in such a way that it's going to be able to fit around their lifestyle and still stay on track with their goals. So that's why I don't personally believe in diet plans. I know there are plenty of trainers out there who believe in diet plans and stuff like that, but for me, I don't think it's wise for my clients. I don't think it's wise for the majority of the general public. I think they're much better off, being able to learn the skills to be able to like micromanage a diet on a daily basis and all other things like that, which I've mentioned previously in this video. But anyway, I'm going to bring the video to an end here. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and I'll see you in another video very shortly.